Hey, you like adventures? I hope so, because there's a lot of adventure this week. Though, I guess if you're into cults, we've got some of that too. If you're looking for adventures or cults, you're in the right place because this is Nindie Nation episode 155. Greetings, citizens! I'm Jeff, and today we've got 10 brand new indie games to check out, all of which are heading to the Nintendo eShop through Sunday, August 14th. We'll definitely be playing Cult of the Lamb this Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern on our Nindies at Night stream, so tell me if there's anything else you want to see more of down in the comments, over on Twitter, or in the Nindie Nation Discord. Now we've got a lot to catch up on before we look at the week ahead, so click that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and let's kick off episode 155 of Nindie Nation by taking a look at the 7 neglected Nindies that released since episode 154. First up is the hotly anticipated Before We Leave, which is teased by saying,
"Cozy city building comes to Nintendo Switch."
A comment that makes me wonder if Balancing Monkey Games has ever looked at the eShop. For $15.99, you get a grid-based spherical planet where you build, grow, and do all of that kind of semi-stuff with a slant that is decidedly more chill than something like SimCity or Civilization. Reviews are mixed, but Team 17 usually puts out pretty solid games, so it could be worth a look. Then for $14.99, Digital Tribe Games delivers Celestial Tales by Ecuador Games and Hidden Tower. This game is my kinda jam, just a good old JRPG that apparently includes a story that sidesteps traditional JRPG story tropes. It includes a couple of expansions, and with 6 different playable characters and a choice system that impacts your story, there appears to be a lot of bang in here for your JRPG buck. Fig. It's $2. It's by Take It Studio. The description jokes about not telling you anything about the game, so all I can tell you is a robot runs around in a 2D environment. My marketing degree is cowering in fear. And similarly, Tabalran is just $1 and looks like a ball rolling around the environment from the original Metroid. But it seems kinda neat. It's made by someone who clearly named their studio after their AOL Instant Messenger username, because how else could you come up with Cool Josh 3K Games? Side note, according to YouTube Analytics, it's safe to assume a bunch of you used to have an AIM account, so tell me down below what your username was, and I'll send a game to the first one that most effectively whisks me away to the days of away messages with passive-aggressive Sum 41 lyrics. Wavecade is the first release by Splatto Bros, and for $10 you get a trippy neon arcade shooter with a time-bending twist. Looks like a lot of thought went into the systems for this one, but I have yet to see any reviews. My Dangerous Life is a visual novel for $12.99 by Giku Games that seemingly takes the boy band from Final Fantasy XV, throws them all into a rundown apartment in New York City, and asks,
"What if they sex?"
And then we've got a point-and-click adventure called Star Seeker in The Secret of the Sorceress Standoff by, well, I can't find any names anywhere. It looks funny, if not very odd, and it comes in at $5.99. And as far as the stuff that you probably don't have any interest in, I gotta say, right after changing my stance last week when a few of you told me to stop being so hard on Red Deer Games, take a look at what they released last week. Clumsy Rush Ultimate Guys is how you avoid copyright infringement when you just can't call it Fall Guys by idiots for idiots. And then we also got Comic Coloring Book Complete Edition,
Sketch!
A title that claims to be the all-encompassing entry while also being a part of a series. But just in case you thought I was being too picky, they published yet another version of AAA Clock, bringing the total number of AAA Clock titles on the eShop to 12. A dozen otherwise free mobile clock apps with a slightly different background, all brought to you by Red Deer Games. In fact, if you were to buy all 12 of these, it'd cost you $114.49. So you still think I'm being too hard on them? Can you at least see why I've got a little bias? I think they're less of a mixed bag and more of a shovelware show that every once in a while ends up with something that isn't complete garbage. But hey, Speaking of complete garbage, there's of course the usual suspects: Ocean Media, Naptime Games, Winterworks, Isaeus Game Dev, Boom Shits, and as always, the thieves at Cooking and Publishing. That's a lot of neglected Nindies this week, a lot of junk, but a few interesting titles too. Anything out there you might pick up? If not, and you're left wondering when the next big Nindie is coming to the Switch, well, you're in luck, because starting right now, there's at least one big release every week for the foreseeable future, so let's dive in. These are the 10 new release Nindies hitting the Nintendo Switch through Sunday, August 14th. Starting on Wednesday the 10th, I sure hope you're ready for an adventure, because that's exactly what you're gonna get with Book Quest by Nerd Games and East Asia Soft for $6.99. It's a top-down action RPG about a boy trying to track down the magic book stolen from his family. The combat takes place in real time, and the RPG elements include all the stuff you'd expect to see. There's puzzles, mini-games, and a nice art style that's retro while still employing some modern touches when applicable. And I hope you're ready for adventure, because Cleo, A Pirate's Tale, is all about a young girl who finds a famous pirate's book and embarks on a hunt for treasure. Similarities aside, it's the first game developed by Greycap, who funded the game via Kickstarter in 2020. This one is more of a point-and-click adventure, and it looks really funny, with voice acting available in English and German. At $14.99, it's published by Christoph Schultz, also a Nindie newcomer, and looks to be just the thing if you want a little more YAR in your adventure. And I hope you're ready to go on a feel-good adventure. Wait, what's up with all the adventures this week? Is this going to be a recurring theme? Anyways, Happy Juice Games and Joystick Ventures team up, both Nindie newcomers as well, to release Lost in Play for $19.99, and this one just might be my favorite of the bunch. Mostly presented as a point-and-click adventure, it's much more about creative puzzle solving as you explore all kinds of little scenarios imagined up by Toto and Gal, a brother and sister with wild imaginations. After looking through all of the beautiful cutscenes that look straight out of a Nickelodeon cartoon, I realized that, whoa, this is actually the game in motion, and it just looks wonderful. I think this one is probably more of a fit for those of you who like the classic LucasArts games and don't mind hovering every item in your inventory over everything on screen to solve puzzles in order to move ahead. If that sounds like you, let me know just how lost in play you get.
See what I did there?
Alright, on Thursday the 11th, it's time to form a blood pack with woodland creatures because the long-awaited Cult of the Lamb drops for $24.99. With this much blood and satanic imagery mixed alongside cute animated animals, it's no wonder this game is published by Devolver Digital. And for those of you who played Adventure Pals and are familiar with developer Massive Monster, this shouldn't feel like too much of a stretch either. Let's first get this part out of the way, shall we? At its core, Cult of the Lamb is a dungeon crawler with procedurally generated levels, roguelike mechanics, and RPG elements! And as far as I can tell, there are two additional pieces that make it unique. First are the visuals, which probably speak for themselves. It's like if you made Adventure Pals with its Cartoon Network-style artwork with occasional over-the-top violence, and then when kicking off your next project, the whole world started falling apart and you spent the next couple of years in isolation as everything you previously knew seemed to change. Yeah, you might end up here, and if you like twisted humor, you're gonna love what this game's got in store for you. Second is the whole cult part of things. Now, we'll see, of course, by playing this on Nindies at night, so stop by this Thursday and we'll dig in together, but it seems like in between runs, whereas most roguelikes will have your little town with merchants and upgrades and the like, Cult of the Lamb seems to throw in a mechanic of building up your cult, making the believers both grow in numbers and in their level of devotion, and I'm not entirely sure how that's done. Either way, I'm super stoked to play this game, even though I was pretty lukewarm on it until just recently. Will it be a typical roguelike dungeon crawler, or will these new mechanics turn it into something all its own? I guess there's only one way to find out, so stop by this Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern and we'll fire it up together on Nindies at night. Well, I guess there's two ways, because you could just buy it and play it yourself, or 3 ways, because you could just read reviews, watch other videos. Hell, there's lots of ways you could figure out the answer to the question, but it really boils down— Shin-chan! I'm sorry, what? Shin-chan, me and the professor on summer vacation!
Well, that seems inappropriate.
Shin-chan, me and the professor on summer vacation, the endless 7-day journey, is a lot more than an affront to reasonable titles, what with using so many layers of punctuation and still messing most of it up. It's also the first release by Neos, and it's $40. You sold yet? Okay, so this game, I don't even know, guys. Maybe it's a visual novel? It's about a kid who travels to a town called Asso.
Really?
And some teacher gives him a camera in exchange for the children, quote,
acting as his witness.
And then you've got this artwork, cheese and rice. What is wrong with this? Okay, the game title is nonsense. The description is even worse. It's from an unknown publisher. There's no inclination about what the hell you do in this game, and it's $40. Great job, everyone. Really solid job. I'm sure this one's gonna sell really well. Hey, Arcade Paradise! Now here's a game I've been stoked for. It's developed by Nosebleed Interactive, who, for the most part, have been a porting house, but the games they've ported, Atomic Crops, West of Dead, Fogs, and more, have all been really solid. Releasing for $20 by Wired Productions, this game is 2 sides of the same coin, and that coin is an arcade based in the 90s. Featuring over 35 fully playable arcade games that are based on just about every type of arcade classic you can imagine, you play as Ashley, who is going against her father's wishes and trying to build the ultimate retro arcade. When you're not playing games, you partake in light, keyword light, management sim gameplay where you tidy up the arcade, pick which games to buy, fix the machines themselves, and all that kind of stuff you gotta do to keep a business running. I love the concept. We've seen games like 1980X take a stab at this concept in the past, and I'm really hoping that this week we get to see Arcade Paradise nail it. And then Cubite Interactive releases Cat Slide titles for $3.99, and, do I need to elaborate further? I mean, if nothing else, they picked a good name. And last up for Thursday the 11th is Last Threshold, a $5 visual novel by Feardemic. It's Lovecraftian in style and follows a scientist hunting for ancient ruins in 1962 Siberia. And guess what? Yep, things get crazy. Of course, I don't often dabble in the spookies, but it is rare that we see a visual novel in this style that not only appears to be done well, but also comes in at such a cheap price. So if this is what you've been waiting for, it might not be a bad pick. And before we get to the last 2 games of the week, here are 4 that you can probably avoid. Ultimate Games has yet another Viki spotter, another Find the Thing game, so I guess this is becoming a trend. And Regista has another Japanese escape game, this one called The Sento. And then from the category of games that required me to enter my age this week, Sengoku Princess is Cyberstep's attempt at creating a series of Japanese warlords who, in case of a water landing, can also be used as a flotation device. Gamazumi, a name that could be reserved for the mess made after spending time with one of their games, releases Sakura MMO, a game where an unreasonably proportioned girl is whisked away to the world of an MMO where she meets a bunch of doe-eyed young ladies who always seem to be bent over or found in otherwise questionable positions. Then on Friday, P-Cube, a publisher who makes all kinds of games, including Arcade Spirits, the other retro arcade-inspired game I was thinking about earlier when talking about Arcade Paradise, tries their hand at, this? Super Bullet Break is a strategy deck builder where your, quote, bullets are scantily clad anime girls. At $17.99, you'll unlock the 160 bullets, as it were, via a gacha mechanic that supposedly does not rely on microtransactions. Well, it does, but using only in-game money. Also, there's an octopus that plays drums. Last up for the week, as usual, Ratalaika partners with Venturis to release Voyage for $14.99. This game looks like a wonderful way to relax and take in the experience of a cinematic adventure all about exploration. You control 2 main characters, but can have a friend hop in for co-op as long as they're on the couch next to you. And the combination of hand-drawn artwork with what looks like some rotoscoping, set to a broad variety of environments with a soundtrack by the composer for Snipperclips, Piku Niku, and Lovely Planet, there seems to be a lot here to like. The whole story is environmental, so there's no words or dialogue, so it's really going for that serene, interesting experience. I only play 1 or 2 of these a year. Most recently I really enjoyed Aspire Ina's Tale, and Voyage is looking like the next one I might pick up. What about you? Going on any adventures this week? If so, you've got Book Quest, Clio, Lost in Play, and Voyage to choose from. But if you want something a bit more focused on gameplay, Arcade Paradise and Cult of the Lamb are 2 that have been perking the ears of our fellow gamers for quite some time now. So it's exciting knowing that we're finally gonna have them in our hands. We'll be playing Cult of the Lamb on stream this Thursday, but after having to skip last week's stream, we'll still need to catch up on Sophia, Annihilation, and Kokoro Clover, so keep your eyes peeled for another surprise stream maybe later this week. If there's anything else from this week you'd like to see more of, you know what to do. Tell me down in the comments, go follow Nindie Nation on Twitter, or better yet, come hang out with us on Discord. Now, I've been saying for 2 weeks now that 2 Point Campus and Blossom Tales 2 are right around the corner, but they keep getting pushed 1 week at a time. So hopefully their current release dates stick for August 16th. Because alongside We Are OFK and a new twin-stick shooter I'm pretty excited for, next week could be one of the best so far this year. There's even a classic casual game getting a $3 port that I just might have to indulge in. But that's all for next week, citizens, and we're all done for today. Thanks so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing Nindie Nation with others. Until next time, I'm Jeff. This has been Nindie Nation episode 155. And remember, no matter what type of game you're looking for, Nindie Nation will be right here to help you find just the thing to keep your Joy-Cons synced.